Welcome, our dear viewers, to our show, Diet Myths. Today we're going to be talking about a very popular concept, and I've heard so many people talk about it and how they think it boosts their metabolism and makes them lose body fat, which I'm sure you've always heard is almost impossible for you to lose with one single food. So what is this mystery food that I'm talking to you about? It's the green tea.
Green tea. Green tea became a daily drink in China around the 3rd century AD, but it was used as medicine almost 3,000 years earlier. Have you ever heard the expression, "I wouldn't do that for all the tea in China"? Well, that's a lot of tea. Tea plants are native to China. Green tea grows in tropical and subtropical climates all over the world. That said, China is still the world's #1 producer of our superfood, green tea. So, what is green tea? And how is it different from black tea? Green tea and black tea are both mature leaves from the Camellia sinensis plant. Green tea is just a less fermented version. This means it has more antioxidants than black tea because the fermentation process removes these healthy molecules. Green tea is chock full of antioxidants, especially catechins, an antioxidant compound linked to everything from weight loss to Alzheimer's prevention. Fresh dried tea is up to 30% catechins by weight. As tea ferments, the catechins lose potency, so go for green tea instead of black tea and reap the benefits like reduced cancer risk, a stronger immune system, and lower blood pressure. The National Institute of Health found that people who drank 1 cup of green tea each day were 46% less likely to suffer from high blood pressure from those who didn't drink green tea. An 8-ounce cup of green tea is also almost half of the vitamin C you'll need in a whole day. Black tea doesn't have nearly the amount. Not only will that hot cup of tea soothe you when you're feeling sick, but it'll help you keep your immune system nice and healthy. Green tea next to another favorite caffeinated beverage. Most people are coffee drinkers or tea drinkers. Some are both. And both coffee and tea have proven benefits. But caffeine is also really addictive and actually harmful in larger doses. The Mayo Clinic says that consuming more than 300 milligrams a day can result in everything from insomnia, to muscle tremors and hypertension. Drinking tea, even a few cups a day, will give you that feel-good benefit of dopamine without the ugly side effects.
So I'm sure you've heard so many people talk about their testimonials with green tea. You know, we've had green tea after our meals and we've lost weight. We've introduced green tea to our diet and we've felt better. Is there really some truth to this green tea? Can this miracle drink actually make you feel better? There's some truth to it, but we're not quite there. So this magical compound in green tea that, takes this fame is called catechins. And these catechins are available in green tea, black tea, white tea, as well as many other teas. And now what, people or researchers have done is seen the effect of these teas and how they actually change, your metabolism and how they boost it and how you feel after you have these teas. So yes, your metabolism does increase slightly, but there's always a catch to research. And whenever you're looking at a certain food group, what I want you guys to do is to actually go and research it online, because you will find some things that do have some sustainability to them. And you'll realize that it's not just that simple. It's not just, you can have a cup of green tea from the store and you'll just lose weight. If that was the case, then we'll all be participating in this. Another thing that I'm going to be talking to you later on during this episode is the other types of tea. So we can really look at whether green tea is the best one of them all, or if these other teas, like the black tea, the oolong tea, or even the white tea, do have some effect on our body. So you'll realize that these teas all contain catechins, this miracle compound. But the key is we don't know how much catechins are available in each of the single teas that we buy from the store. And if the store-bought tea really has any significant effect on our body. These are questions that I want you guys to ask yourself, and see if really they do affect your body, they do affect your weight, and they do affect belly fat or other claims that you've heard heard people say. So I want you guys to stay tuned with us, and we'll come back talking about these teas and all their different effects. Welcome back, our dear viewers. So I hope I gave you plenty of time to think about the teas you've bought recently, the flavors you have, and whether or not you've noticed some change in your body or some change in your health when you've had these teas. So like we said, there are many different teas. The most popular one recently and the most famous one was the green tea, and that's because it really contains the most amount of catechins, which are known as anti-inflammatory and antioxidative compounds. Now, that's the key. And I remember I told you, look at the teas that you've bought from the store and look at the teas that you've bought around you and think of whether or not they really do contain the catechins. And the reason behind that question is so much research has been done on green tea. And yes, green tea can help you lose body fat, especially when you combine it with resistance training exercise. So exercise where you use your own body weight and you resist a lot of things. But the key thing is, when they did these studies, all of these researchers actually enriched their green tea with so much more catechins that are usually available in the store-bought teas. So that means if I buy a tea from the store, it doesn't contain enough of that miracle compound to actually have that effect on my body. So unless you're buying the original, super high quality green tea that is maybe or perhaps enriched with more catechins, then you won't be getting the same effect that these researchers have been studying, which is a shame because, you know, many of us do want that effect. But that doesn't mean you can't have this green tea, because there are other things that we like about it. Personally, I like this green tea as a warm drink, you know, and especially during snack time and between meals, it does keep you feeling a bit full, a bit satiated. And I usually have it with like a handful of nuts, so around 6 to 8 almonds, my cup of green tea, and I actually feel quite good and quite full until it's time for my meal, whether it was lunch or dinner. So there are some uses to this green tea, but for us to say that it blasts the fat is not quite true. And like I said, there are so many other teas out there. So we have the oolong tea, we have the black tea, and we have the white tea. And of course, all of them have different processes and different ways of production and manufacturing. Therefore, it affects how effective this tea is at making us lose weight. But the key compound in these teas are the flavonoids. Now, what I want you guys to do is to continue staying tuned with us, because we're going to continue talking about these other teas. So we're going to look at the other teas and whether they really do affect our weight or how we feel, just like green tea does. Stay tuned and we'll be right back. Welcome back. Now, I hope I've got you thinking about these teas and what they can really do to us and to our overall health. Like I said, these teas are all beneficial, and especially when you don't add sugar to them, then you're just getting a calorie-free drink that's healthy, has a good amount of antioxidants. So like I said, the two main compounds in teas are the catechins and the flavonoids. And green tea is not the only one that has them. We also have black tea, we also have the oolong tea, and we also have the white tea. Now, the white tea contains maybe the highest amount of antioxidants because it's not really fermented very much. So the fermentation process for the white tea is very minimal. It's like the baby tea leaf, and that's the one that they've picked out and given you right away. It does have a lot of anti-cancer properties, But then again, the research really, takes these teas and then adds a lot of these compounds, like exaggerates the amounts of catechins or flavonoids in these teas, and that's why they see amazing results. Unfortunately, the teas we buy have very minimal amount of these things, especially if you're buying the commercial store-bought ones. Now, when we look at the oolong and the black tea, these have much more flavor in them because they've been processed more. So they've left out to, ferment more. And the fermentation process is really good for you. And actually, so much research has indicated that, for any smoker out there, sometimes having 3 to 4 cups of black tea can actually backfire the effect on your lungs from those cigarettes. So maybe that's something to consider. Of course, quitting would be the ideal situation. And like we said, the oolong tea falls along the category of the black tea. So we see that each one of these teas does have its own specialty. They're all really good for your health, and especially when you have them without the sugar. So without any calories, you get to have an added bonus, of a tea that could have some effect on your body. Even if it's minimal, there's no loss or there's no downfall of having these teas. It's like having water that's sometimes enhanced. But you do need to be careful because every single one of these teas, even green tea, does contain caffeine. So it could help you be more alert during the day, but these are definitely teas that you want to stay away from at night, especially if you want to be falling asleep. And maybe the more ideal situation for you is to have these herbal teas at night. So I hope you enjoyed the variety of teas that we talked about today. You've seen that all these teas do have effect. So the black tea that we've been drinking for such a long time is as effective as the green tea that's a newcomer to the market here in Kuwait. I really hope you enjoyed today's episode, and I hope you benefited from it, and we'll see you guys next time.